morning, boys and girls. Today is Monday, and today is April 6th. So if we go over here, yes, we'll see that yesterday was Sunday, April 5th, and tomorrow will be what comes after 6, boys and girls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7. I have my dog Tessa here with me today. She's taking a little nap because when I'm filming this, it's a rainy day. I'm hoping today for you is sunny. This week, boys and girls, I am going to challenge you and your families to take a little bit of a break from all the busyness that we've been doing and to do something a little fun. You have some papers to do, Serafina, so those will be explained to you today. But I would like you to take some time, since it is Holy Week, and we're going to read a story today about Jesus's sacrifice. Jesus had very wonderful qualities about him, and he used his great love and his wisdom and his forgiveness and patience to bring God's love to others. And all of you boys and girls have very wonderful, special gifts. And I would like you this week to spend time with your families and think about those wonderful gifts that you have, the things that make you so happy, the things that you love to do. And I'm going to ask that rather than doing a lot of those other videos that I have for you, that you spend some time working on one project this week. You might want to create you might have a favorite song, and you might want to spend some time creating like a dance sequence to go to that song, and then you can film it and send it over, through an email to me. Another thing you might want to do is play restaurant with your family. You can set the table very nice, like a fancy restaurant. Maybe make a little menu with your favorite specials of the day, and then talk with your family. Maybe you have a special recipe that's been handed down to your family for many years, and you can spend time cooking that recipe with your family. You might hear Serafina chewing her bone in the background. I apologize about that. Another idea is maybe there's someone special in your family tree, somebody maybe that you never met, or maybe there's a story about your grandparent or an aunt or an uncle that you never heard before, and you'll spend time talking with your family about that person and something special that happened in their life. And maybe your family can write down little things that happened in a small book, and you can draw pictures, you can illustrate the pictures. Another idea is maybe you'll go outside and you will find things in nature and just create something very imaginative with natural materials like sand or some sticks or rocks, and make something together that would be very beautiful or useful. Maybe you have again, with maybe a person in your family, maybe you want to make up a song about that person to teach others about that person, and you can make the words to the song go to a familiar tune, like Mary Had a Little Lamb. Let me think what else you could do. You might want to find a favorite picture. Maybe there's a beautiful picture in a picture book that you have at home, or a funny scene in a picture book, and maybe you and your family will try to recreate that picture with yourselves, dressed up in costumes. You can find things around the house and try to make your house look like that picture, and take a photograph of you and your family recreating the scene from a book. You might want to take a shoebox and make a mouse house out of things that you find around your house, the ideal house for a mouse. Or you might find things outside to make your mouse house. Or maybe turn your yard into a pirate's island, and you'll find a special place to hide your treasure, and then you can take a piece of brown paper and crumble it up and make your own treasure map. So then you can give it to others, and then try to see if somebody can find your treasure. There's so many different ways to use your imagination, your creativity, and you might want to do one of those things. Maybe you'll make a Lego tower, not using any directions, just using what's in your mind, your creation, your ideas. So find a way to be creative. It can be as simple or as complicated as you want it to be, and work on that all week. And do something really cool and fun and exciting. And when you're doing that, just remember that God gave you that gift of creativity. And when you use that creativity, you will find a lot of joy in inside yourself, because there is something very special about yourself. And we thank God for that creativity that we've been given. And we try to find a way to use that creativity to bring joy or happiness or comfort to others. It can be as simple as making a card for someone who's not feeling well, or making a beautiful painting and giving that to someone to bring joy. If you see in the background over here, I'm not sure how well you can see it, but there is a painting. There's lots of paintings in my house. My father was an artist, and he also carved things out of wood, and he did all kinds of creative things, and he even wrote little poems. And I think just because of my experience with my dad and seeing how much joy he brought to the world with his creation, with his ideas, with his imagination, it really helped me, and it helped to mold me into loving that idea of creativity. So I look forward to finding all the wonderful ways that you can be creative this week. And please send me pictures or videos. I would love to see the ways that you're using your imagination. Have a great day. I was happy to receive a picture today from Jose. Here in this picture, you'll see that Jose was trying the experiment with the onion planting as well. He took the onion and put it inside a yogurt cup with the bottom of it removed to see if it will start to root. Thank you for sharing that, Jose. And in this picture, Jose went to a beautiful area in nature and enjoyed all of the God-given beauty around him. It looks like the sun was shining that day, and he was probably out on a hike. I love this picture, Jose. Thank you again for sending this. Here is a wonderful picture of Madison. She planted her seeds this week, and here we see her watering can and her seed starters. Thank you for sending this, Madison. Best of luck with your seeds. Here is another picture that was sent to me from Jose, and this is a picture of the butterfly that he drew with us during our morning meeting the other day, and he can see that he labeled all the different parts of the butterfly in creating his butterfly diagram. Excellent job, Jose. Here we see a picture of Andrew looking like quite the artist. He is using some paints and some masking tape on his windows to create a beautiful stained glass window design. And here is Andrew's finished creation. Very beautiful. My first question was whether or not this was washable, and I was assured that this is children's washable paint mixed with a little bit of dishwashing liquid. So once you remove the masking tape, what remains is this beautiful stained glass window design. Great job, Andrew. Okay, for our set of worksheets for this week, our first one is patterns, big and small. And at the very bottom, there are some pictures that you're going to cut out, and then you're going to glue them in the boxes to continue the pattern. So if you look at the pattern, you will see that the first row has a big pumpkin and then a small pumpkin. That's the pattern. So big pumpkin, small pumpkin. Then it repeats the pattern again, big pumpkin, small pumpkin. If you're doing this pattern, big pumpkin, small pumpkin, big pumpkin, small pumpkin, which pumpkin would come next? If you said the big pumpkin, you are correct. You would glue the big pumpkin next in that box because it continues the pattern. Please do the same with the next 3 lines. Our next worksheet in today's packet is Count and Match Set 1. What you will do is you will look at the first box on the left side of the paper, and there are crayons there. You're looking to match the number. So please count those crayons with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 items in that box. Now look at the right side of the paper and see which one of those boxes also has 4 items in it. You're going to match 4 items on the left to 4 items on the right. So put your pencil right next to the box that has 4 crayons and draw a straight line right across the paper to the other box that has 4 items. Now, go to the second box on the left. And how many items are in that box? Let's count them. 1. There's only 1 item on that box. So look on the other side of the paper, the right side of the paper, and find something else that has only 1 item. And draw a line from the box with 1 item to the other box on the other side of the page with 1 item. On this paper, we're going to be learning how to make the capital letter F. Remember, the letter F makes the sound F, as in F for fish. Okay, this one is very much like making the capital E. You're going to start on the number 1 in the top corner and make a straight line down. Then you're going to bring your pencil back up to that corner where it says number 2 and make a straight line across to the right. Then you will pick up your pencil one more time, put it on the number 3 in the middle of that tall line, and make one more straight line out to the right. This is the capital letter F. 1 straight down, number 2 across from the top corner, and number 3 across from the middle of that tall line. Okay, the next page is a page asking you to find the letter that makes the beginning sound of the words that go with each picture. So remember when we did what is the first sound that your mouth makes when you say the word? Okay, that's what we're going to do here. And then we're going to find the letter that makes this sound. So you're going to work really hard on this page, boys and girls. The first picture is an ant. And this is a little tricky because we're used to saying that A makes the sound ah, ah, ah. But here, sometimes the letter A makes the sound eh, eh. It's kind of a whiny sound. And if we think of the first sound that our mouth makes at the beginning of ant, it is that eh, eh sound that is made with the letter A. So you will color in the letter A. A is the letter that makes the first sound of the word ant. The next one's a little easier. This is a picture of a dog. And if you think, what is the first sound your mouth makes when you say the word dog? Say it with me, dog. The first sound is d, d, d. Now there's 2 letters there. There's a D and there's a letter M. Which letter makes the sound d, d, d? Very good. It's the letter D. So you're going to color in the letter D because it is the first sound your mouth makes when you say the word dog. Please do the same for the rest of the pictures on this page. Boys and girls, this next paper is asking you to find the tools that certain community helpers use. You're going to cut out the 6 pictures at the bottom of the page. There is a police car, a hose, a tractor, a fire truck, a barn, and it looks like a little record book or a ticket book. So there are 3 community helpers at the top of the page. You are going to glue the items that are used by each of those community helpers. One of the pictures is a firefighter, another is a farmer, and another is a police officer. So you will think about which items they use and glue those pictures right under each community helper. The last paper for today is a color by number. And if we look at number 1 at the top, the word is Green. And remember, G makes the sound G, G. So that is the color green. You're going to color the first crayon green. Number 2 has a color word that starts with an R. What color word starts with the letter R? It is the color red. Please color number 2 red. The color word for number 3 starts with a Y. And remember, the letter Y makes the sound Y, Y. Which color word starts with the sound Y? Very good, boys and girls. The color yellow. You're going to color the third crayon yellow. Now, if you look at number 4, that color word is spelled B-L-U-E, and the beginning of that word starts with the B sound and then an L sound. So we have B, L, bl, and that could be black or it could be blue. So I'm going to give you a little hint here. That color is bl, and then there's a U, so blue. Please color crayon number 4 blue. And the last one starts with the word or. O-R says or. So number 5, the color is orange. Then you will color the pictures in each of those little boxes or rooms to match with the number, with the color from the top. Use that key and you'll be finished your worksheets for today. Hi, boys and girls. This week I am encouraging all of you to find a way to be very creative, to use your imaginations, and to bring some beauty to the world. So I would like to share with you a story that I loved reading to children many years ago when I taught second grade, and I thought it would be wonderful for you to hear the story Charlotte's Web. This story was written by an author named E.B. White many years ago. You may have seen the movie of it, but I thought starting today it would be wonderful for you to hear the beautiful words and to use your imagination as you listen to the story. And I have Serafina with me today, one of my therapy dogs, and she's going to listen to the story along with us. So today we will read chapter 1 of Charlotte's Web by E.B. White. Chapter 1 is called Before Breakfast. "Where's Papa going with that axe?" said Fern to her mother as they were setting the table for breakfast. "Out to the hog house," replied Mrs. Arable. "Some pigs were born last night." "I don't see why he needs an axe," continued Fern, who was only 8. "Well," said her mother, "one of the pigs is a runt. It's very small and weak, and it will never amount to anything. So your father has decided to do away with it." "Do away with it?" shrieked Fern. "You mean kill it just because it's smaller than the others?" Mrs. Arable put a pitcher of cream on the table. "Don't yell, Fern," she said. "Your father is right. The pig would probably die anyway." Fern pushed a chair out of the way and ran outdoors. The grass was wet and the earth smelled of springtime. Fern's sneakers were sopping by the time she caught up with her father. "Please don't kill it," she sobbed. "It's unfair." Mr. Arable stopped walking. "Fern," he said gently, "you will have to learn to control yourself." "Control myself?" yelled Fern. "This is a matter of life and death, and you talk about controlling myself?" Tears ran down her cheeks, and she took hold of the axe and tried to pull it out of her father's hand. "Fern," said Mr. Arable, "I know more about raising a litter of pigs than you do. A weakling makes trouble. Now run along." "But it's unfair," cried Fern. "The pig couldn't help being born small, could it? If I had been very small at birth, would you have killed me?" Mr. Arable smiled. "Certainly not," he said, looking down at his daughter with love. "But this is different. A little girl is one thing. A little runty pig is another." "I see no difference," replied Fern, still hanging on to the axe. This is the most terrible cause of injustice I have ever heard of." A queer look came over John Arable's face. He seemed almost ready to cry himself. "All right," he said. "You go back to the house, and I will bring the runt when I come in. I'll let you start it on a bottle like a baby. Then you'll see what trouble a pig can be." When Mr. Arable returned to the house half an hour later, he carried a carton under his arm. Fern was upstairs changing her sneakers. The kitchen table was set for breakfast, and the room smelled of coffee, bacon, damp plaster, and wood smoke from the stove. "Put it on the chair," said Mrs. Arable. Mr. Arable set the carton down at Fern's place. Then he walked to the sink and washed his hands and dried them on the roller towel. Fern came slowly down the stairs. Her eyes were red from crying. As she approached her chair, the carton wobbled, and there was a scratching noise. Fern looked at her father. Then she lifted the lid off the carton, and there, inside, looking up at her, was the new-born pig. It was a white one. The morning light shone through its ears, turning them pink. "He's yours," said Mr. Arable, "saved from an untimely death. And may the good Lord forgive me for this foolishness." Fern couldn't take her eyes off the tiny pig. "Oh," she whispered, "oh, look at him. He's absolutely perfect." She closed the carton carefully. First, she kissed her father. Then she kissed her mother. Then she opened the lid again, lifted the pig out, and held it against her cheek. At this moment, her brother Avery came into the room. Avery was 10. He was heavily armed, an air rifle in one hand, a wooden dagger in the other. "What's that?" he demanded. "What's Fern got?" "She's got a guest for breakfast," said Mrs. Arable. "Wash your hands and face, Avery." "Let's see it," said Avery, setting his gun down. "You call that miserable thing a pig? That's a fine specimen of a pig. It's no bigger than a white rat." "Wash up and eat your breakfast, Avery," said his mother. "The school bus will be along in half an hour." "Can I have a pig too, Pop?" asked Avery. "No, I only distribute pigs to early risers," said Mr. Arable. "Fern was up at daylight, trying to rid the world of injustice. As a result, she now has a pig. A small one, to be sure, but nevertheless a pig. It just shows what can happen if a person gets out of bed promptly. Let's eat." But Fern couldn't eat until her pig had a drink of milk. Mrs. Arable found a baby's nursing bottle and a rubber nipple. She poured warm milk into the bottle, fitted the nipple over the top, and handed it to Fern. "Give him his breakfast," she said. A minute later, Fern was seated on the floor in the corner of the kitchen with her infant between her knees, teaching it to suck from the bottle. The pig, although tiny, had a good appetite and caught on quickly. The school bus honked from the road. "Run," commanded Mrs. Arable, taking the pig from Fern and slipping the donut into her hand. Avery grabbed his gun and another donut. The children ran out to the road and climbed into the bus. Fern took no notice of the others in the bus. She just sat and stared out the window, thinking what a blissful world it was and how lucky she was to have entire charge of a pig. Fern had named her pet by the time she reached the school, selecting the most beautiful name she could think of. "Its name is Wilbur," she whispered to herself. She was still thinking about the pig when the teacher said, "Fern, what is the capital of Pennsylvania?" "Wilbur," said Fern dreamily. The pupils giggled, and Fern blushed. I hope you enjoyed Chapter 1. Tomorrow we'll read Chapter 2.